What's going on, guys? We obviously got some snow, but it's a beautiful day out, and I thought we'd take some time to talk about um, essentially just how to tie your Mecate to your Hackamore, how I do it, why I do it the way that I do, and just kind of do a little bit more in-depth breakdown of the process, a little bit more up close so you guys can see it. I get a ton of questions on this. But before we get into that, if you guys are interested in Hackamore related videos, I obviously make bridle horses for a living. If you follow our channel, Facebook, Instagram, any social media, YouTube, I'm sure you know that. But if you go to our YouTube, scroll down, you'll be able to see quite a few Hackamore videos on there as well. So, but again, today is going to be a little bit more in-depth of just how to attach your Mecate to your Hackamore, and how I do it, why I do it the way that I do. So, before we get into it, guys, this is a T3 Mecate. These are the ones I prefer to use. I've used a ton of different Mecates. These are 100% alpaca, made in Colorado, made in the United States. Awesome Mecates, great when wet. And we do carry these on our rope shop, bktacbox.com. So you don't have to use them, but my personal preference, I've tried mane hair, tail hair, and I used these Mecates long before we offered them on our rope shop or ever sold them. So they don't sponsor me or pay me to give them shout outs or promote their products. But I've used these for a very, very long time. So great Mecates, and I'll just jump into it real quick. The reason I prefer these over mane hair or tail hair, or yacht rope, or like any type of dead rope, what I mean by that is it's not like necessarily a natural material, is that life is very important in a Mecate. So when I squeeze my hand or pick up at all, the horse is going to feel that transfer of information onto their neck, right, and then onto the Hackamore. So if you have something that's too dead, like yacht rope, for example, or cotton, or just any type of rope, right? Um, you squeeze and nothing happens, right? I'm not saying you can't get anything done on it; it'll be fine, right? But for shooting for perfection, right? Trying to create the most subtle signal for your horse, and give them the clearest, most concise, soft cue that you possibly can. I prefer, obviously, these alpaca are great, mane hair, tail hair, also great. So why do I prefer these alpaca over mane hair or tail hair? All of them are good when they're wet, right? That was the number one question when these first came out, is if they were going to perform good when they're wet, right? And these alpaca definitely are great when they're wet. But the main reason is just the abrasiveness of the mane hair and tail hair. If I put my kids on a horse, my wife, friends may get on a horse of ours, whatever it may be. These are just less abrasive to the touch. They're very, very soft. So they're just really easy for people to get along with. For me personally, I can definitely ride mane hair, tail hair, obviously. But I just like these alpaca because they're more well-rounded. They have a ton of life to them. Again, when I squeeze or pick up my hand, it transfers a lot of information to that horse very easily, just because they're not dead in the hand. And then obviously the softness is nice as well. So check them out, guys. You don't have to, but this is just what I'm going to be showing in the video, and what I prefer to use. So case in point, before we jump into it, I guess I better talk about sizes. So there's a lot of different Hackamore and Mecate sizes. Hackamore size needs to match your Mecate size always, okay? So just remember that. If I'm going to ride, let's say you're starting a colt, you've done a little work in the halter, got them going pretty good. A lot of guys will go to a 3/4 inch Hackamore, then they'll go to a 5/8, then a 1/2 inch, then a 3/8, and then your Bozolita or your get down is going to be tied to a 1/4 inch, obviously. So me personally, I don't use a 3/4. I feel the 5/8 is pretty much great for me to get just about, 70% of my training done. So I will spend, let's say, a year in a 5/8. I will spend about 6 months in the 1/2 inch, and then 6 months in the 3/8, and then I'll start 2 reining. And that may go for another 6 months, and then potentially straight up, right? And when I go to straight up, I'll put the 1/4 inch Bozolita on in a get down, which just hangs through here. And that's essentially all you're going to use to lead your horse at that point. And then you'll just be picking up the bridle rein. So, you know, guys, just to interject real quick, it is a long process. You know, it's never perfect. You're always developing it, always working on it, always finding holes. And I find holes all the time, and then I go back and I'm like, gosh, I, you know, want this to be a little bit better. I want this to be a little bit better. So I may take my horse to a Hackamore, to a halter again, or to a 2-rein for a day or two. But you know, that's kind of the fun of it. So it's really about how much can I get with asking the least, and how willing is my horse, and you know, not necessarily what can they do, but how do they do it, right? Are they producing these really beautiful fluid movements with minimal input from me, and you know, really attentive, staying with me, and you know, are they able to do that without me just manhandling them and spurring them and pushing them around and whatever, right? I really don't want to be doing that. And I, you know, specifically roping, you may find yourself doing that roping sometimes, and it's something that's a continuous battle and development. Is one, how to be as good of a horseman when you're not roping as when you are, or I'm sorry, when you are roping as when you're not, right? Um, and how do I get those same movements when I'm, you know, roping and tied on to something that, you know, is 1,200 pounds? So that's kind of the beauty of it. That's just, you know, not to get off topic, but that's why it's kind of like this never-ending goal. But it's a lot of fun, and you know, it all starts with your Hackamore. So that's why I want to talk about this. I want you guys to be able to get kind of a good start with your horses that you're training in the Hackamore, and make sure you got your equipment right and understand how to tie and put it together properly. So yes, 5/8 is what I'm going to start in. Okay, so again, your Mecate needs to match your Hackamore size. Okay, um, the way that I tie this, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth to the camera so you guys can see, but I'll start out here. The way that I tie this is different than most. So most guys, right, this sits on your horse here. They're going to put your tail through the front like this. Okay, so you'll see everybody riding and the tail comes out the front. And that's totally okay. The reason I don't do that is because young horses tend to chew this. If they can, they're going to try and lip it. Just like if you've ever seen horses try and do that with bits, right? That's why they have lipping chains on some bits, specifically Las Cruces bits. But yeah, these tails, one, they're beautiful. I don't want them to get chewed up and start undoing the twisting, but two, it's just going to distract the heck out of the horse if they can keep playing with this. So I am going to do it the other way. So I'm going to take my tail, put it out the back there. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay, I'm going to have my Hackamore facing me. Okay, and if it's facing me, I am going to go, well, let's think of it like this. This is a little bit easier for you guys. Let's say you are the horse, okay? Just like this. And I'm looking down at the Hackamore. I am going to go counterclockwise, okay? So I got my tail, again, coming out the back. I am going to go counterclockwise, okay? And you can take as many wraps as you want to here, okay? So it just depends on the horse's fit. Me personally, wraps, I prefer one or two. I don't want to have all these stacked wraps. And what I mean by that is if I just keep wrapping, right, counterclockwise here, again, I'm looking down at the Hackamore and I'm going this way, okay? So if I just keep going, doing my counterclockwise wraps, and then I've got, you know, something like this, before I even pull my reins through, this is going to be way too much for a horse, okay? It's sloppy signal. It's a lot of weight right here. It's just, you know, every time I pick up, there's so much going on here now, and it's so slow and drawn out. So I prefer one or two wraps. So I will buy my Hackamore smaller so that I don't need to do lots of wraps. I will tell you, 10.5s fit 90% of horses, something in that range, if you're riding quarter horses, okay? At least for the fit that I like. So let's say, again, I'll show you guys here. This is the Hackamore. I am going to put my tail through the back, okay? So we're just like that, okay, guys? I'm going to wrap counterclockwise here, okay? And this is all I would do for a lot of my horses, just there, okay? So I wrap counterclockwise. I'm going to pull my reins through. I'm going to check my length. And just so you guys know what I do, everybody likes different length reins, but personally, about perfect length is not your wingspan, okay? Perfect length is your wingspan with about a 45 in your elbows, okay? So if I do that, something like this, okay? That's how I check. So let's say I've got all these twists in my reins like this, right? You can't ride that, right? That's going to be a pain in the butt. If I try and untwist it, it's just going to start kinking and being weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to untwist this before I tie it. Just rotate my hand, I'm going to flick this side to help get the memory correct until these want to lay pretty straight. That's not perfect, but that's pretty good. Okay, so let's say we're good with that. Again, the reins are coming towards me, right? I would be here on the horse. Reins coming towards me. Then what I am going to do is so let me just zoom in on this, guys. Come up close to show you. This is what it's looking like, okay? I've got my reins pulled towards the back, right? Same direction as my knot is coming out, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tail here and I'm going to do a forward twist like this, okay? So it's just a half hitch is all it is. Boom, like that, okay? Twist, come over your hackamore. Need to pull my hanger through, and I'm going to suck it down, okay? Whoops. And I'm just going to suck it down here. Just like this, okay? Really good tip for tightening that knot, guys. I'll just show you how it looks there. For tightening this knot is, yes, pull your tail through the front, but also pull your reins, and that's going to help suck that knot down, okay? So keep pulling all three of those. This is your get down, okay? Your get down needs to come through the front always. Remember that, okay? If you come off your horse, this is your lifeline to hopefully stop him from running back to the barn. Okay, these are my reins coming out the back. Again, same direction as my tail is. Okay, so I'm going to untie it here, and we'll do it again. I'll show you guys. Whoops. Kind of how easy this process is. One thing I will mention, make sure you untie your hackamores and your mecates every time when you get done. The reason is, one, it'll put some really weird twists in your hackamore, really weird memory, right? Because it's going to keep it in a certain position, and it will put some weird kinks in your mecates if you leave them tied. The reason that matters is, let's say I go to ride, short-necked horse, and I need a little bit shorter of a rein, go to adjust it. Then my rein's got this weird kink in it right here because that's where it's been tied, but I really need my rein over here, right? So then I've got this weird kink halfway up my rein or whatever, right? I just don't want to put weird memory in the mecate. I like it to be, straight and soft without any kinks in it every time I go to ride. I don't want to be fighting something, if that makes sense. So it's going to help your equipment last longer, and it's just a good practice too. So again, got my hackamore, take my tail, go through the back, rotate counterclockwise, and I'm going to do 2 wraps this time, okay? Just like that. I'm going to reach my hand through, pull my reins. What am I going to do? Wingspan with about a 45, let's say there. I got my reins twisting. I'm going to untwist, accommodate on the get down side as well. I'm going to check everything here. Looks pretty good. I'm going to take my get down, do a forward twist, half hitch right there, come over, snug down. Okay, pull my reins, pull my get down, and we're done. Okay, this is how we should look here. Yeah, I've got my reins coming out the back. I've got my get down coming out the front. Okay, so most guys are going to count the wraps that they have underneath their reins. If you're doing it like this, putting your tail through the back like I do, there would be 2 right here. Okay, that's about the max I'm going to put on a horse. Okay, 2 wraps underneath your reins. The minimum I'm going to do obviously is 1. But that's my personal preference. I really like 2 or 1. I pretty much never am going to go to 3 or 4. This is a much sharper, crisp, clean signal to a horse. It's very, very small to them. It's not this big giant, 4 wraps of slow up and signaling them, right? It's just a boom. Very, very small signal. And, I like feeling that. I don't like feeling these long, drawn out signals for a horse. So I'm going to untie this and we'll tie it again here, guys. And I'll scoot up to the camera and hopefully give you guys a little bit better picture if anybody's having any questions. And as always, guys, if you have any questions on this video, just leave it below and I'll get back to you guys. So, okay, so we're here. Got my Hackamore, right? I'm going to put my tail through the back. Okay, just like that. I'm going to wrap counterclockwise. I'm just going to do 1 wrap here. I'm going to reach my hand through, right? Reach my hand through. Pull my reins. And let's say I want to be, again, 45-degree bend in my elbows, right? With my wingspan. I'm going to untwist here. Make sure my reins are laying pretty true here. That looks good. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this, forward twist, right? Half hitch. And it's very important, guys, I'll mention this, right? When you do this twist, just make sure it's laying over, right, itself. So when you twist, this piece is underneath, okay? So this piece is underneath when it comes over. So it locks your get down in, right? That's what locks this knot down, okay? So again, I grab my get down here, half hitch, come over. I'm going to go ahead and just suck that down. Just like that, okay? Got my reins coming out the back. Got my tail coming out the back. I've got my get down coming out the front, okay? So I'll come up a little closer here. Make sure you guys can see this good. I do not start any horses in a snaffle. Everything is a Hackamore horse. And that's why it's important to make sure you can tie this well. So this is the back. Okay, this would be 1 wrap. And then this would be the front, guys. Okay, so when it's hanging on a horse, just like this. Okay, beautiful. Hopefully that's making sense to you guys. This it's not something that's too complex, but until you do it over and over again, 1,000 times, you might have to go back and watch this video. But once you get the hang of it, guys, you'll have it forever. It's it's not something that's too difficult. You just got to practice it is all. So if you want to, when you're sitting in your house, your living room or something, watching TV, you can practice this. And if you've got service obviously in your house, you can go back and look at it. It's better to do that than you know, being at the barn or out in the pasture or something, having to tie it, and you know, don't have service, so you can't look back and get it right. So um, the reason I wanted to make this video, guys, is again because the Hackamore is such an important process to a horse's training and success in their life, right? This is going to be where you're laying down the foundation for the rest of their life. So um, I just wanted to make sure that you guys are kind of getting a good kickstart in the right direction, and you know, you can let your equipment kind of work for you, and help you signal your horse properly, just kind of make your life a little bit easier. So you know, if you've got, again, too many wraps on it, you're going to be like, why is my horse not soft in a Hackamore? Why are they not really responding to this? And a lot of the reason can be their signal's too slow or your signal's too sloppy. So try less wraps, try a smaller fitting Hackamore. You know, you watch a lot of the rein cow horse stuff or the working cow horse stuff, and you know, guys that train their horses in halters and then just put a Hackamore on to do the show. Um, that doesn't mean much. You know, that's just you know, for the show. That's not a Hackamore horse. So no offense to anybody, you know, those guys do some great stuff, but you know, a true Hackamore horse, this is all the only tool that we do our schooling in, and you know, the only bit they're ever going to have in their mouth is a spade bit. So you know, this is something that can create some really beautiful animals, really beautiful working horse. And you know, if you take your time, get them going in this good, fine tune it. Again, don't fall into that rein cow horse stuff where they have the giant, you know, 4 or 5 wraps underneath the horse's chin, and you know, everybody sees that, like, wow, that must be how you do it, because they're showing, you know, in these events with a Hackamore. But that's not how you do that. That's just them throwing it on and going to a show, right? You really need to focus, at least in my opinion, on keeping those wraps minimal, keeping it a clean, concise signal. And you know, it's just like anything, right? If any piece of your clothing or equipment is too big, it's not going to function right. So keep that Hackamore to where, you know, it only takes 1 or 2 wraps underneath the horse's jaw to have, you know, maybe 1 finger that can fit through there. So I just want the tiniest pickup, and then it to contact the horse's lower mandibles. So I've got some previous videos on that, guys, on our YouTube. You can scroll back and check that out for Hackamore Fit. But this was more about tying the Mecate. So again, just kind of want to get you guys as much information to help your young horses start off on the right track. So I get a lot of questions on this, so hopefully this helps you guys. And again, you don't have to tie it this way, but this is why I tie it backwards, right, with that tail going through the back of the Hackamore instead of the front. And you know, it's worked for me. So give it a shot, guys. If you like it, great. If not, don't use it. But I sure like it, and I've sure had a lot of success. So I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, leave them below. Leave any comments. We love hearing from you guys. And as always, if you don't subscribe already, click subscribe, click like. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.